Welcome everyone to our first video in a series of videos where we walk you through how to set up a project in our software. I'm greatly honored and excited you've made it this far. Let's get down to business, not waste any of your time. It may be helpful to first review the entire video series prior to entering your own data, but that's totally up to you. What we're going to cover in a series of videos will be how to do simple setup of the software so we can start creating projects pretty quickly, then the steps to creating a project, and finally, possibly most importantly, how to best monitor that project and adjust to uncertainties as you start to manage it. There are some advanced features in our software that may be interesting toward the end, but let's not get stuck on that. Let's get going with a simple plan first so you can see how things work and try it out on your own. So we're going to start with the setup. And we're going to go through setting up of the software and then planning a project, the steps to planning the project, monitoring during execution, and then some advanced features. So in the software setup, what we're going to cover is making sure we have our capacity allocated into the project so we can assign that capacity or resources to tasks. So we'll do that first and some initial setup of the software. Okay, so let's move to Concerto. So if you're watching this video, you've already accessed this video through some landing page that was sent to you. You logged into the website. They ask you for organization, and the organization name created what we call a division in Concerto. A division is your space for only your projects, and no one else can see or mess with your stuff. So it's a small segment within this, on this particular server that we have set up that is just for you. And so the screen that you landed on may look different than this. This is really in development right now, but when it gets fully done, you'll see the video that you're accessing right now will be on this screen, of course. And so from this screen, what I want you to do is go to Project Manager, Modify. You should see this Modify tab show up. And then I want you to know I've already created a project for myself, but in your division, I want you to click Create New Plan. When you click Create New Plan, it will open this secondary window called the Planning Gantt, and that is the interface in which we will add or enter our project information. Okay, so when that opens up, we're going to give the project a name. I'm going to give this a name. So it's going to be, my name is Chris. I work with Realization, been with Realization a few years, but that's the name I'm going to give to this project. The division, this is the name I gave for the business as I signed in. The project manager, this is my username that I used when I signed in. So all those things are preset for you. There are a few other attributes, and these would typically be used in environments where we want to segregate portions of our project. Maybe there's several projects for a particular customer, several projects in a particular portfolio that's being managed, and we want to slice and dice that data when we're in a multi-project environment. Single project environment, which is what we're going to demonstrate here, is not that critical. Okay, so we're going to hit add that project name and then click Submit, and that will create the first project. Okay, now it's blank and opens up this interface, and a quick overview of the interface before we get moving too far. It's divided into 4 primary segments on the very top of the screen here, where we have first project. Now we'll go through some of these icons and functionality, but I won't go too in-depth right now. A lot of these you will learn as we practice and go through the demonstration, so I won't bore you to death here. But there are 4 tabs. The first one is a project tab, which gives us all the project level type of activities we can do. We can save and download, export, replace, and several other things, right? Or create a new project here. We're already in a new project environment, so we don't need to do that. The second tab here is tasks. So this has activities around task insertion, finding tasks, sorting, scrolling, coloring tasks, and that kind of stuff. And then you'll see over here schedule. Schedule is a group of icons that are used to, after we have the tasks in place, we connect the tasks. We want to see how long is this project and where are the overloads and that types of stuff. So we're going to use a couple different options. One is generate schedule to create a new plan, actually to create the new plan or to the new chain within that plan. Update is similar to if I make small changes and I want to see the effect of those updates. Recalculate is for larger changes that I've made. I want to recalculate the critical chain. And so there's some project level stuff around scheduling. Okay, and there's a parameter here. We'll go to this fairly soon. Okay, the last icon here is under View, and these open up secondary windows down below. So I click on the resource panel. A resource panel will open up down below, showing me the resources that I have available. Okay, there are a few things on the right hand side which are global actions, so we can change the filters. We can change what columns we want to see over here on the right hand side. There are some presets. I've preset 3 for us, standard columns, which would be just these columns here. There may be some phase staggering, adding task manager. So some presets, 3 different presets we could set, so whenever we log in we can automatically see those columns. Okay, this here just hides the Gantt chart, so it gives us a little bit more space to, if we want to see the Gantt chart again, which is the waterfall view of the tasks on the right hand side. And there's some help document. This is a quick reference guide for viewing. If I open this, it's also maybe useful for you to go through this guide, which is walking through why a little bit on the Gantt and how the Gantt works. There are some secondary, I'm going to close this, but there's some secondary, there's an icon up here so we can see a secondary icon arrangement. This is our previous version, which we had project scheduling stuff, so it's a little bit confusing. We tried to make it a little bit more user friendly with this arrangement of the icons. So both versions have the same functionality, it's just structured differently. On the left hand side we have a quick access bar. You can click on this customize button here and we can move things from available actions, which are the icons above mostly, to selected actions. And so you could have them on the left hand side here. With one click you can go to resource window, the same window that we would see up here, resources. We just added it here, so in one click I don't have to go through multiple tabs. One click I can go to the resource panel. If I want to close the resource panel, I can click on resource panel here, or I can use the close icon or close box over here. Okay, so we have covered the column presets, what we're going to view here, project level, task level, scheduling, actions, what we view, the quick access bar. Okay, so from here what I want to do is add my resources that I'm going to use in my project plan. Now normally we might have what we call a global file, which is where we have all the resources available within an organization, and they don't all get applied to a single project. But in this eval version, what we're going to do is enter the resources that I need for the project that you're going to create. Okay, so I'm going to enter some resources. I'm going to assume that I am in like a ETO type environment, engineer to order. So I'm going to add some resources. So how do I do that? Let's go ahead and click on the resource button, which opens up this resource bar, resource window down below, where I can add resources. And I'm going to add some resources that I can then use later to assign to tasks. So I'm going to add electrical engineering can spell correctly. And add that, and I'm going to add a few others. So let's go ahead and add mechanical. Engineering. And I need some procurement. Maybe a procurement tech to do the procurement activities. Let's add automation. Good. And let's add a couple more. I need maybe project manager. Okay. And we're going to put quality tech. Good. And we're going to add one more. Move this up a little bit. Add one more, and I'm just going to make it a designer. Okay, so I've added the resources that I will use to assign to tasks. Those resources then become available in the task here. If I double click on this column, you'll see the resources available to assign to tasks. Now let's check the quantities here. So for automation tech, I need maybe a couple of those. I need some designers. Electrical engineering 1, maybe 2 mechanical guys. Procurement tech, project manager, quality tech, all in one. So I'm adding some quantities, and these are just initial quantities that I can add to my project. Later we'll see if we have any possible overloads or not. Okay. We're not using any global max units right now, and these are in that global file I mentioned that can be configured later and for multi-project environments. The calendar I'm going to use is a standard calendar. I'm not going to customize this calendar. There is functionality around customizing the calendar, meaning I may have a scenario where I work a 4-day work week and I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're 10-hour shifts or something like this. I may have dual shifts for 7-day a week operation. I may only work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, single shift, or an organization that's an engineering organization just working Monday through Friday, single shift. There may be portions of the organization that work different calendars, so we can assign the resource capacity to different calendars if we like. But we highly advise that we keep this very simple. Operating from a single calendar just removes a lot of analysis work in the plan when we're trying to identify or determine why tasks are being scheduled the way they are. So let's keep it as simple as possible to reduce that confusion. So I've added my resources, and one thing to mention is we don't want to add too many resources. So there's a tendency to want to add very detailed level of resource capacity to the specific abilities of each resource. Some folks like to even add individuals, and maybe in smaller organizations that might be okay because we really don't have that much capacity anyway. But in larger organizations where we're doing multi-projects and those projects are using resources that are spread out across the portfolio, it's useful to keep things fairly simple. There is a hierarchy we could develop, but still, if you have 10 resources or so, that's probably enough in most organizations at the right level. So let's just start with that kind of assumption. Don't enter more than 10 resource types if you can help it. Okay, great. For this trial project, we're going to assume there may be specific roles like a project manager or a task manager, those things, and that you will be performing these roles as you navigate the software. If you want to explore that later, we can do that with how we can give other folks access to the software. They can update their tasks, they can manage their work, and so on. We're not going to create separate users at this time. Okay, now that you've entered the resources, save your work, and we'll move on to the next video. So to save our work, we're going to come over here to Project, and we're going to click on Save, and we're going to click Save with Comment. Okay, and I'm going to type in here with resources. So what this does is it saves a version of the project plan, and we can later recall that version at the same point that we saved it if we choose. Okay, I've saved the project. Now if I want to go back and look at my saved versions, I come over here to revision history. I also have it here in my quick access toolbar. So if I click here, a panel will open up on the right hand side. This is my initial blank project, and this is a save with just the resources. So if I went here and wanted to reload the initial version, it would be restored, and I don't see the resources. And I want to come back up here, I'll restore this version, and it'll restore the version where I had the resources added. Okay, so anytime during the planning process or even during execution, we will save anytime we run the scheduling algorithms, or if the user saves. There's also a way to automatically save every so many minutes while you're in the planning client to do auto saves. But this will be where we come back to pull the files that we need and quickly go back to previous versions. Okay, very handy tool. Okay, once you've completed entering your resources, then let's move on to the next video. Thank you.